Have you ever seen a tree so big it made you feel tiny? Imagine a tree taller than a skyscraper or wider than your house. Today, we're going on an amazing journey to discover the 12 biggest trees on Earth. These trees are so huge, they'll make your jaw drop. Some are as old as dinosaurs, and others are as colorful as rainbows. Are you ready to be amazed? Let's go explore these gentle giants of nature. 1. The Chiat Giant. Our first stop is in Canada, where we find the Chiat Giant. This tree is a western red cedar, and it's the tallest tree in all of Canada. It lives near Chiat Lake in a special protected area called Pacific Rim National Park Reserve. The Chiat Giant is so big, it's hard to believe it's real. It stands 182 feet tall, that's like stacking 30 kids on top of each other. Its trunk is super wide too, measuring over 20 feet around. That's wider than a car. If you could turn this tree into telephone poles, you'd have enough wood to make 450 of them. But don't worry, nobody's going to cut down this amazing tree. This tree is so special because it's one of the few old trees left in its forest. Many other big trees were cut down long ago. Luckily for us, the Chiat Giant is safe in its protected home, where it can keep growing for many more years. 2. The Wisteria Wonder. Next, we're flying to Japan to see a tree that looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale. It's called a wisteria tree, and it's in the Ashikaga Flower Park. This wisteria tree is 144 years old, which is older than your great-grandparents. But what makes it special is how it grows. Instead of growing up like most trees, it spreads out like a giant umbrella. It covers an area as big as half a football field. When this tree blooms, it's covered in beautiful purple and pink flowers. The flowers hang down like curtains, creating a magical canopy. It's so heavy with flowers that it needs special metal poles to hold it up. Can you imagine walking under this amazing tree? It would be like stepping into a world of color and sweet smells. People come from all over the world to see this tree when it's in full bloom. 3. The Douglas Fir. Now let's head to Oregon in the United States to meet the Douglas Fir. This tree is a coastal Douglas fir, and it's the tallest tree in the world that isn't a redwood. The Douglas Fir is super tall, 327 feet high. That's taller than the Statue of Liberty. Amazingly, this tree survived when so many others were cut down. People only found it in 1989, and now it's protected so it can keep growing. This tree is between 450 and 500 years old. Imagine all the things that have happened in the world while this tree has been quietly growing. It's not the widest tree though. Its trunk is about 11.5 feet wide. Scientists think there might be even bigger Douglas firs out there waiting to be discovered. Maybe you'll be the one to find the next record-breaking tree. 4. The Lagoa Christmas Tree. Our next tree isn't a real tree, but it's so big and famous that we have to talk about it. It's the Lagoa Christmas Tree in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. This giant Christmas tree is almost 279 feet tall, that's about as high as a 28-story building. But here's the coolest part, it floats. That's right, this enormous tree floats on water in the Bay of Rio de Janeiro every December. The star on top of this tree is huge too. It weighs as much as 2.5 cars. At night, the tree lights up and there are fireworks all around it. It's like a giant, floating Christmas party. This amazing tree has become a symbol of holiday cheer for the whole city of Rio de Janeiro. 5. The Centurion. Let's travel to Tasmania, an island near Australia, to meet Centurion. This tree is a type of eucalyptus, and it's the tallest tree in all of Australia. Centurion is over 327 feet tall. That makes it the largest flowering plant and hardwood tree in the whole world. It got its name because it was the 100th big tree found by the local forest rangers. This giant tree is so tall that if you laid it down, it would be longer than a football field. This tree is really lucky to be alive. Most of the other old trees around it were cut down or burned in fires. Centurion itself got a bit burned in 2019, but it's still standing strong and growing taller. Scientists think it might grow even taller in the future. 6. Tain Mahuta. Our next stop is New Zealand, where we'll meet a very special tree called Tain Mahuta. Its name means Lord of the Forest in the Maori language. Tain Mahuta is a kauri tree, and it's the biggest one ever found. It's almost 169 feet tall, and its trunk is so wide that it would take 20 kids holding hands to reach around it. This tree is really important to the local Maori people. They believe it's sacred and connected to their forest god. Many people who visit Tain Mahuta feel so amazed that they cry. To keep this special tree safe, visitors have to clean their shoes before they get close to it. This helps protect it from diseases that could harm it. 7. Bhutan Cyprus. Now we're heading to the country of Bhutan in the Himalayas to see the Bhutan Cyprus. This tree is also called the Kashmir cypress. In people's gardens, these trees usually grow to about 50 feet tall, but in the wild, they can grow 3 times that size. There's a rumor that one of these trees in the Himalayas is 312 feet tall, but its location is a secret. Imagine a tree as tall as a 30-story building growing on a mountainside. These trees are very important in Bhutan. They're the national tree, and people plant them near Buddhist temples. The trees have pretty blue-green leaves that look like scales. Sadly, there aren't as many of these trees as there used to be because people cut them down to use the wood. That's why it's so important to protect the big ones that are left. 8. The White Knights. Back in Tasmania, we find a group of super tall trees called the White Knights. The tallest one is named Servam, and it's just under 300 feet high. These trees are a type called manna gum. Before people found the White Knights, they thought manna gum trees were much smaller. It was a big surprise to find them so tall. These trees are like the skyscrapers of the forest, towering over everything around them. The White Knights almost got cut down many times, but luckily they were saved. Now there are nice walking trails so people can visit these giant trees. There's even a special walkway built around Servam to protect its roots from too many visitors. It's like the tree has its special viewing platform. 9. Juggernaut. Our next stop is California in the United States, where we meet Juggernaut. This tree is a coast redwood, and it's the tallest single-trunk redwood ever found. Juggernaut is an amazing 460 feet tall. That's taller than the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. Its trunk is over 27 feet wide, that's wider than a big truck. If you could climb to the top of this tree, which you shouldn't, you'd be higher than a 40-story building. What's cool about Juggernaut is that it was only discovered in 2014. Scientists used special machines on airplanes to measure all the trees in the forest. It took them years to figure out which one was the tallest. Who knows what other giant trees might be hiding in the forests of the world? 10. Yellow Marante. Now we're going to the island of Borneo to see the yellow Marante. This is the tallest known tropical tree in the world. The yellow Marante they found is 330.7 feet tall. That's taller than the Statue of Liberty. Scientists say this tree weighs more than a big aeroplane, and that's not even counting its roots. If you could weigh this tree, it would probably be as heavy as 30 elephants. These trees grow in a specially protected part of the rainforest. It's home to many endangered animals like orangutans and forest elephants. Scientists think there might be even taller trees hiding in the forest, but it's hard to find them all. The dense jungle makes it tricky to spot these giants from the ground. 11. Tennessee Treehouse. Let's take a quick detour to see a different kind of tree giant, the Tennessee Treehouse. This wasn't a natural tree, but an amazing treehouse built around a big white oak tree. This treehouse was 100 feet tall and had 10 floors. It was built by a man named Horace Burgess and took him 11 years to finish. The treehouse was so big it used 6 different trees for support. Inside, it had everything from a sanctuary to a basketball court. Sadly, this amazing treehouse isn't standing anymore. It burned down in 2019. But for many years, it was one of the biggest and most incredible treehouses in the world. It shows how trees can inspire people to build amazing things. 12. Hyperion. Our last stop is back in California to meet the king of all tall trees, Hyperion. This giant redwood is the tallest known tree in the entire world. Hyperion is an incredible 379.1 feet tall. That's like stacking 63 tall adults on top of each other. It's so big that scientists think it contains enough wood to fill a mansion. This tree is between 600 and 800 years old. That means it was already a big tree when Christopher Columbus sailed to America. The exact location of Hyperion is kept secret to protect it. Scientists worry that too many visitors might damage the tree or the forest around it. Wow, what an amazing journey! We've seen trees taller than skyscrapers, wider than houses, and older than countries. These giant trees remind us how incredible nature can be. Next time you see a big tree in your neighborhood, think about how it compares to these forest giants. Maybe one day you'll get to visit one of these amazing trees yourself. If you enjoyed learning about these incredible trees, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more amazing facts about nature. Thanks for watching, and remember, big or small, every tree is special.